بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise belongs to Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Receiving concerning specifically Taraweeh, Salat al-Witr, the Salat al-Jama'ah, and the different ways and options that we have because of the current situation that we're in. What's has been quite clear to me actually is the unfortunate situation where a lot of us don't know the answers to basic things in our deen with regards to salah, with regards to congregational prayer, and so on. Now, it's not because it's an exceptional circumstance that this has brought on, unique situations. Yes, of course, some of them are unique in that the masajid are closed and how we are going to pray Jum'ah or not. Okay, that might be unique for us. But simple things like, I don't know, where do I pray when I'm at home? Where does my family stand? I mean, this is something that when you're at home, whether there's a pandemic or not, if you're going to be Muslim, that seeking knowledge is an obligation upon all Muslims. So even though we are in somewhat a desperate situation with our link to the masjid cut off, but when one door closes, another door opens. And I think that, I think a lot of us will become almost like ulama in Kitab al-Salah, will become like scholars in the book of Salah because of the amount of questions that are being asked around prayers. What can I pray? How can I pray? So there's a mercy in that, alhamdulillah. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to show the benefit of knowledge in things which, affect our daily lives, and none more important than the prayer. Allah knows best.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Just a reminder again, if you're watching at home, if you have any questions to put to the Sheikh, just write them in the comment section below, and YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching this. On the email address again is dailyqa@islam21c.com. So let's get started with the first question, Sheikh. Brother says, nice and easy one for you. What constitutes a beard? Okay, is it all the jawbone or all parts of it? Does it include the cheeks?
Sure. Good question. So the beard is defined by, mashallah, you quite rightly mentioned, with the jawbone, which starts from the side below the ear here, and then the bone that goes all the way down here, and then continues, of course. So all the hair that grows in that area is prohibited to shave off. So the khad, which is the cheek in Arabic, khad, this isn't part of the beard, and if somebody wanted to remove that hair from the cheek, then that would be permitted. Similarly, the hair that grows underneath in the neck area, if somebody wanted to remove that hair, that would also be permitted. But what must be left, or if you're going to trim it, but of course not shave, is the hair that grows around the jawbone area. As for the mustache and the dhiqn, this part is called a dhiqn in Arabic.
Soul patch.
Yeah. There are different narrations whether the Prophet ﷺ used to shave or trim the mustache. The two valid opinions in the madhahib. So if one shaved it, then there's a position for that, and there's also a position to trim the mustache so that the hair doesn't go over the lip and into the mouth. And this is one of the defining features of the Muslims concerning the mustache, where you find other ways of life they don't. So it's good to keep the mustache if you're going to keep it tidy. As for the dhiqn, then likewise that should be left as well. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have another question here. It's from a brother called Shaju. He said, I'm from Hamburg, Germany. Assalamu alaikum. Can we celebrate birthdays without cutting a cake, cooking special meals for this occasion? Can you please explain why celebrating his birthday is haram?
Yeah, so birthdays aren't necessarily, the ruling concerning birthday isn't because of the cake, okay? So the view that we don't celebrate birthdays, put the cake to one side. The issue is that you're taking a particular time in the year on, year out, which becomes like an Eid. Mm-hmm. And the view that it's a non-religious Eid, therefore it's not a problem, then okay, let's celebrate, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, or not Halloween, of course, that's religious based, but Guy Fawkes here in the UK, you could fill your calendar with 15, 20 different celebrations. And then you have to ask yourself, what impact does that have on the identity of a Muslim, in light that the Prophet ﷺ told us when he came to Medina, he saw the people celebrating a particular day. And the Prophet said that Allah Jalla wa'ala had substituted these celebrations for 2 other celebrations. And that is Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. So these are the 2 celebrations which we do find in the Quran and Sunnah. And inshallah, are sufficient for us if we treat them and celebrate them in the correct way. And if somebody is can't wait twice a year, then you've always got Jummah every week, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay. So what you're saying is cake is okay.
Cake is it's irrelevant to the birthday. They don't celebrate birthdays.
Yeah.
But
have
if you
a
want to
Jummah
eat
cake
cakes
instead.
Yeah, well, yeah. You're opening another can of worms there.
Okay. We have another question here. The name's not here. So I don't know if it's from a sister or a brother. That might obviously impact the answer. Can I give my zakat to my younger brother who suffers from a mental illness? He's unable to sustain himself due to the condition, and he's also under a debt, after being taken financially advantage of due to his condition.
SubhanAllah, may Allah will make it easy for them.
I mean,
so if he has a debt, then yes, quite simply you can give him the zakah, so he can pay off his debts. If that's what it's used for, to pay off the debts. If, however, it's due to poverty reasons, then if there is nobody there who is financially, looking after him, and it's not a financial responsibility upon you, then you can give him zakah because of the poverty reasons as well, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. I mean, this time of year we get a lot of questions about zakat anyway. So would you say your answer applies for someone's brother only, or is it generally for any family member? No,
I mean, for debts, it doesn't matter, because debts come under the Asnaf al-Thaman. It comes under one of the 8 categories in which you can, they're entitled to zakah, regardless of how close they are to you, in general, in principle. As for poverty reasons, then if it's an obligatory upon you to financially sustain that and look after that person, then your financial responsibility does not include the zakah. But if your responsibility towards them is not an obligation, then you can give them zakah. Okay, these are general principles.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We have another question here. Can a Muslim woman work as a care assistant in a care assistant job?
Yeah.
This is from Sister Nadia.
Yeah. So this is a very noble job, to look after other people, especially people who are in need and who have, especially in troubled times like this, that they're reliant on people to go to their homes and support them and whatnot. And I know many care workers myself, in which they have different levels of care that they offer. Some of their care is there just to make sure that their food is there for them, make sure that their medicine is taken. And then there is a type of care which involves washing and cleaning them. Now, with regards to this level of care, where it requires you washing other people, if you're able to kind of restrict, if you want to say restrict, but kind of like women for women alike, then that's not a problem. The kind of issue is that when women, you have to go into a male's home and wash them, where there may be some issues. So if you can speak with your employer as to if you're involved in the washing, that is, maybe to find some patients who are females, then that's not a problem, inshallah ta'ala. But then again, if your care is not involved in washing, then in general, the care that you offer them in support, like with the food and medicines, it's not a problem, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay, Barakallahu Feek, Sheikh. Just a reminder, any brothers and sisters watching at home, you can send your questions in the comments below, YouTube or Facebook, or you can email us, dailyqa@islam21c.com. This next question is from Brother Aqil. He says, I'll just read it as it is. I'm working as a delivery driver, but I have for many years not had official permission to stay in the country, so I cannot work officially. My children have now got nationality, and I have been told that I have become a national but must pay £8,000. I cannot afford this as we barely get by. Am I able to receive zakah to pay this fee so that I'm allowed to work full-time and officially earn enough for my family?
So with specific situations concerning zakah, okay, it's always on a platform like this, or sometimes you've got messaging services where some bare thin details are given to you. It's not always possible to give them a categorical straight answer, yes you can, yes, or no you can't. However, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has opened a way for you that you're able to stay here with your family. That this is a big blessing. And we look at your, not because of the things that you're going to possibly undertake, i.e. that I need to pay £8,000. That's not a debt for you at the moment, okay, because you haven't taken anything out. If at this particular time that you are able to get by, meaning that you have more than half or you have more than you need to get by, it might be the case that you're not deserving of zakah. So hence me saying that is maybe a good idea for you to sit with somebody and explain your situation in detail so they can know your full financial situation, so you can get an answer that's tailored for your situation specifically. Allah knows best.
Jazakallah khair. And for specific answers, questions that required specific tailored answers, we can share the number or the details of the Islamic Council of Europe, for example, where you can call up one of the sheikhs and get a personalized fatwa for that. So someone will be putting a link to that, IC-Europe, I think it is, .org.uk. Next question. Actually, off the back of that, Sheikh, so you're talking about zakah. A question that often comes up is the local versus abroad in terms. So there's a lot of charities distributing zakah here and abroad. Some people ask what's best, or what we should try and do, pay our zakah, local or abroad.
Sure. So why is there a discussion, if you like, as to why there's the zakah, why is there an argument between it going abroad or staying local? It stems from the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, that when the Prophet ﷺ sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal to Al-Yaman, and the Prophet said to Mu'adh ibn Jabal, you're going to go to the people of the book, teach them the shahada, and if they accept that, then teach them the prayer. If they accept the prayer, then let them know that from the rich people, that there is a portion of their wealth which is to go back to the poor people. Okay. Now, one understanding from the hadith is that the Prophet ﷺ said to Mu'adh that essentially the zakat that's taken from the rich people there goes back to the people who are there in Yemen because of that particular area. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say bring back some of the zakat so it can be distributed to the people of Medina. So there is an argument to say that zakah as a priority really should be distributed to those who are closest to you. So if you're living in the UK, then set up zakah organizations to distribute and help the people, the poor people, and not just poor people, because you should realize that zakah isn't just for poor people. There are situations where people have debts. There are also people who are maybe close to Islam. There are, fi sabilillah, in a sense, some of the scholars in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding giving da'wah, which is especially in the West is very important. So it's a situation where I don't think it has to be this or that. It can be, I think it's very important for each of the Western countries to set up their own zakah foundations and institutions and whatnot, where the local people can be looked after, and also that from afar as well, that the zakah can be distributed as well, so that both sides are looked after. You don't find that nobody's been looked after and locally, and that you're ignoring people who are far away as well. So I think competent zakah foundations or institutions, whoever they are, should look at fulfilling both of those. Allahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. And it's always useful to remember that zakah is a very, very small amount of your wealth anyway, and we should be trying to give as much sadaqah as possible as well, rather than just kind of dividing up zakah into further and further fractions. We have another question here. I think it's a sister. She says, I have a standing order to a charity where I give monthly. Do I have to pay zakat on this? I'm assuming she means, do I have to take that into account when I'm calculating my zakah?
No. So, I mean, if you've got a monthly standing order and you work out your zakah to be once a year, then the time of the year when the zakah is is due, you look at your funds, you look at the savings you had if you qualify to pay zakah, that it's above the nisab, it's above the threshold, and it's been with you for a year. On that particular day, you look at the money that you have, and then you pay zakah on that amount. As for the sadaqah that you are giving, then this is something separate. If you like, you obviously don't count it as part of your zakah, but maybe the standing order is not going to go out. Maybe it goes out in a week's time. Okay, it's going to go out in a week's time, but the money did you have now, that is what you'll pay the zakah on, not something in the future you take into consideration.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have a brother asking, what is the difference between jinn and shaitan?
So jinn, first we just define what both of them are. So jinn is another creation that exists upon earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed on earth, and they are required also to follow the Prophet ﷺ, to follow Islam as we are. And from the jinn kind, you find that there are, just as in the humankind, there are Muslims, believers and disbelievers. As for the some of the disbelievers from the jinn, they may be particularly mischievous and evil, and they may be considered to be shayateen. Similarly, you find from humankind, they could also be considered a shaitan. Okay, so the word shaitan isn't something specific to jinn, but a human being could also be a shaitan in the sense that they are a person of great evil. So not all jinns are shayateen. Not all jinns are shayateen. You find believing jinns. They follow Islam and they make hajj and they fast like us. They are, of course, not shayateen. No.
Jazakallah khair. A follow-up on that, actually. My kids asked me the other day that shayateen are locked up in Ramadan, and we normally tell them they can't play outside just before Maghrib because it's the time that, of shayateen and stuff. Yeah. So then they asked, wait a second, can we still play outside now? Or?
Yeah, okay, good question. Yeah. So
I just said be quiet.
SubhanAllah. So as we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assigned with every human being a qareen, a shaitan, with every human being to try and whisper to them. These are not locked up. So the shayateen that is assigned to every human being, they are not locked up. They will still be with you and try to whisper to you and try to cause confusion to you,
distract you in prayer,
distract you, things like that. Yeah, but the shayateen that are out, like from the jinn, the shayateen, the bad ones, the marad of the shayateen, the big ones, the big shayateen, they will be locked up. They will be locked up. And there's also another view that all those other shayateen, they can also be locked up as well, but the ones that are with you are not. Allahu A'lam.
So still, kids, when you're playing around sunset, it's best to come inside?
Yeah, the hadith is still applicable. It doesn't. The hadith doesn't state that, at the time of Maghrib, bring your children in and close your doors and cover your vessels, except Ramadan. No, it doesn't. It means the whole year.
Okay, Barakallah Feek. Another question here. If somebody's following the 18 degrees Fajr, is it advised to pray Fajr later and stop eating earlier? So follow the earlier time for stopping eating and the later time for praying your Fajr. Is that advised, or would you just stick to one time?
Well, I guess if you're in a position where you believe that you're going to stick with the 18-degree calendar and that you believe that this is the time that Fajr comes in, then you're permitted to pray Fajr at that time. Okay, there shouldn't be any doubt about it. You can pray Fajr at that time, and then you can go to sleep if you wish. Okay, it's not necessary for you to wait to the latter time, and then a person can say, "I'm 100% sure, okay, that I've prayed Fajr in its time." Okay, everybody will agree that Fajr has come in. But the point is that ibadat and worship, acts of worship, shouldn't be based on a kind of a dhanni, speculative kind of approach. If you believe that this is the correct time, then you can offer you start fasting, and then you offer your salah at that time. That is, of course, the masajid. If they were open and you wanted to pray with the jama'ah, by all means, then you can delay it and pray with the jama'ah. This will be better for you. But since the masajid are closed, then by all means you can offer salat al-fajr in its earlier time there. Wala haraj.
Okay, excellent. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. And just a reminder, you can check out Islam21c.com/PTC for the prayer times calculator. And there's a handy Telegram bot as well. If you just search for prayer times calendar, it tells you the exact prayer times wherever you are in the world with a click of a a tap of a button, inshallah. Got a nice short question. The answer might not be short though. Is Yawm al-Qiyamah only one day? Interesting question.
Yawm al-Qiyamah is, even though it is, as we see it, as we understand Yawm like as a day and a night, but we know that the days with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like 1,000 days on Yawm al-Qiyamah. So it is not as though it's a day and a night in that sense, but it is one long day, Yawm al-Qiyamah. So in that sense, this is how we will see on Yawm al-Qiyamah. It is one long extended day, Allahu Alam, and not a series of day and nights as we see it.
Okay, excellent. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have a question here. It's from a sister, I think. Is Qiyamul Layl and Tahajjud the same thing? And if so, why have they been given two separate names?
Okay, so yes, essentially they are the same thing, Tahajjud and Qiyamul Layl. And, you know, sometimes you find a noun can have more than one, one thing can have more than one name to it, not a problem. Okay, so Tahajjud specifically is something which is offered in the latter part of the night. You could say Qiyamul Layl is often referred to the latter part of the night, but it's anything essentially after Salat al-Isha. Any night prayer is called Qiyamul Layl, is anything is offered after Salat al-Isha. Tahajjud specifically is something that you offer in the latter part of the night. So you could say that Qiyamul Layl is more of a broad meaning, and Tahajjud a little bit more specific, but essentially the same thing.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. And did you say Tahajjud is better than Qiyamul is that time of the night?
Yes, and the fact that Tahajjud is offered in the last or the latter part of the night, and the last third of the night, inshallah, there's a greater fadila, there's a greater blessing from there, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have another question. It's regarding zakah on pensions. I'll just read it out so I don't miss anything important. I have a company pension to which the employer also contributes. They match my 6% contribution. The pension is not accessible by me until I retire or upon reaching over 55, when I can choose to withdraw a lump sum amount. Jazakumullah khairan for your answer. So what do they do with that?
Yeah. Okay,
Probably
so
a common
it's a common question. Yeah. So if we can mention one thing, it may help on a lot of other questions that people have. Zakah is paid upon wealth upon which you consider part of your wealth. Not only is part of your wealth, that you have the ability to use that wealth. Okay, so you might own something, but you cannot use it in any way, shape, or form. So there's a question mark whether you consider that to be part of your zakah, which does influence the view of some of the scholars in that pensions, which, yes, it is your wealth, but you cannot access this wealth at all until you retire, which may be 20 or 30 years away. Hence, the ulama, they say on this that you start paying zakah upon receipt of that wealth. When you first start getting that wealth, that's when you would start paying zakah on it, because before that time, you cannot consider that 100% you have like a tasarruf tam, complete access and use of that money. So you pay zakah when you're upon receipt of that money. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, barakallahu fiqh, Sheikh. Another question. There's no name to this one. If you have made a decision after praying istikhara, but still feel guilt after choosing that option, is it a sign that you've made the wrong decision?
No, it is not. But it may be a sign that you rushed into the decision. So I think it's important. I mean, I do understand that there are sometimes time frames for you to make a decision. So in a situation when you do have a time frame, you pray Salat al-Istikhara, you may have sought some counsel from somebody, and you ask them, what do you think on this matter? And then you go ahead, you pray Istikhara, and you go with what you are, mostly sure of. I'm leaning towards one particular decision over the other. Once you've made that decision, regardless of what happens, don't feel guilty and don't feel any regret, because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed for you. There's a well-known hadith that you should not say if, because this will open the doors of shaitan. If I had done this, if I had only spoken or consulted with so-and-so, maybe I would have made another decision. The fact is that the decision that you made was always going to be like that because of the decisions that you made. So there's no need for you to feel any guilt or any regret about the decision that you made. And if you feel that it didn't go the way that you thought, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that somehow some good can come out, inshallah ta'ala.
SubhanAllah. They say a lot of mental health issues are resulting from a misplaced fear, either of a decision you made in the past or something, an anxiety for something in the future. So it's very calming, that you can just make this dua and have all of your reliance in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after that. SubhanAllah. Okay, next question. If I have been asked to look after a large portion of money for someone over a number of years, do I need to pay zakah on it? If not, do I not need to remind that person of this wealth that they have?
Yeah, so if you take the responsibility of looking after a large amount of money for somebody, then I assume that there will be some form of understanding regarding this wealth. They will say to you, I will contact you when I need it. Please put it in a safe place. It's not that just somebody's just going to turn up to you and just say, see this money, just take it, and then they walk away. It's not going to be like that. So you should obviously make clear to them that, care of that, or should I, will you give me the responsibility to do that? So you should contact the person, inshallah ta'ala, to let them know that this money may have zakat to be paid on it. Are they taking care of it? Or is there something that you can help them out with, inshallah ta'ala?
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Quick question. Does Tarawih prayer have to be either 8 or 20 rak'ah, or can it be less?
Mm-hmm. So we know that the Prophet ﷺ prayed 8, and then after that prayed witr. And then also Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, when choosing Ubay ibn Ka'b and Tamim al-Dari to lead the Sahaba in Tarawih. These are two well-known practices from the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. But if a person wishes to pray other than that number, it is permissible for them, meaning that if they wanted to pray less than 8 or more than 8 and less than 20, for example, even more than 20, it is permissible for them, inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. And last question here for the night, inshallah. It's sent by Brother Muhammad. You mentioned zakah is better to pay locally in some scenarios, but how about if you have family who is in need but is not living in the UK? Is it better to pay zakah to them?
Okay, so then it's a good question. So what you have here is a ta'arud, i.e. that do I prioritize locally, which is one view, or do I prioritize my family, which is also a priority? In a situation like this, then your family, inshallah ta'ala, will take priority in a situation like this. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. And Jazakumullah khairan to you, brothers and sisters watching at home. If you like this, remember to share it and tune in tomorrow, inshallah. We'll have Sheikh, I think, Abdul Rahim McCarthy with us tomorrow, and Sheikh Husim will be joining us next week, inshallah. That's the same time, same place, inshallah. If you have any questions, remember to send them beforehand. You can send them beforehand as well. Somebody's going to be monitoring the mailbox. That's dailyqa@islam21c.com. Stay with Islam21c for all your Ramadan needs, inshallah. And don't forget to check out the online masjid platform. It's up and running now, alhamdulillah. Check out onlinemasjid.islam21c.com. That's onlinemasjid.islam21c.com. From myself and Islam21c team, that's all for now. And Jazakumullah khairan again to Sheikh Husim Kemson. As from us, then we'll say Assalamu alaikum now. See you tomorrow, inshallah.
دعائي وابتهالي شاهد لي بافتقاري. Stay tuned to Islam21c to catch the front row for the online masjid.